It went from smoke to a fire.
And more than 100 across Florida.
It's probably the worst drought we've had in probably 15 years.
The threat of severe weather returns with the risk of tornadoes and more over multiple days. We'll see the impact this week's heavy rain in Texas is having on water levels.
It has been 177 days since we got an inch of rain.
The growing worries over one specific type of spider.
They're naturally spreading on their own through a process called ballooning or kiting.
And the water that's now called the cleanest in the United States.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. For the first time in state history, Georgia has issued a mandatory burn ban. The move comes as wildfires grow to nearly 30,000 acres. They are burning in South Georgia, where the ground is so dry, it's labeled exceptional drought. That's the highest level of drought. The region is now under a state of emergency, and fire officials don't expect to fully contain the flames until the end of May. John Loris has details.
We tried to save your house. We couldn't do nothing. It was too late, man.
A pair of wildfires causing havoc in South Georgia near the Florida border.
Within 5 minutes, it went from smoke to a fire. So just understand, this thing is a very dynamic situation that's changing in a matter of moments if the wind kicks in a certain way.
The Pineland Road fire and the Highway 82 fire seen here have scorched thousands of acres and destroyed dozens of structures, including homes.
We're pulling in resources from the state of Georgia for long-term recovery group support so that we're able to start working through the issues for those that have lost everything.
Smoke from the wildfires is affecting air quality hundreds of miles away in Atlanta, and the blazes have led the Georgia Forestry Commission to issue its first ever mandatory burn ban in state history.
Life safety and taking care of the social fabric for those that have been impacted by this fire is a huge priority for this county.
That includes Twin Rivers Baptist Church in Brantley County, which handed out meals to area residents in need.
I just felt like we needed to do something. That's what our community does. Like, we give back, we help each other.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
It's a similar story in Florida, where more than 130 wildfires are burning across the Sunshine State. That includes several in North Florida, as well as one in the Everglades. And Florida's drought conditions are helping fuel the flames. We have two reports, starting with Janine Stanwood in South Florida.
We have made some progress.
Crews in helicopters scooping up water, dumping it on the blaze that's been burning off US 27 in the Everglades. It's all hands on deck with all-terrain vehicles, Broward Sheriff Fire Rescue's aviation unit, as well as the Florida National Guard. The Florida Forest Service believes the wildfire somehow started on US 27 Tuesday. Crews and strong winds have pushed it back and west, but persistent dry conditions are making the fight difficult.
The fire looks much better. There's not as much burning at the moment, but we're going to continue to have winds all day.
The Everglades has been bone dry after prolonged cold snaps over the winter and low rainfall totals, and it's not over yet.
It's probably the worst drought we've had in probably 15 years. And, we've probably got another 6 to 8 weeks of this. And be careful, whatever you're doing, whether you're cooking on a barbecue grill or driving, parking on the side of the road and idling for a while, that will definitely start a fire.
The current drought and wildfire conditions in Florida are sparking a lot of comparisons to the 1998 wildfire season, which scorched 500,000 acres in northeast Florida. Up in the skies, though, you can see the progress being made tackling the railroad fire, which is more than halfway contained after just a few days. Florida Director of Emergency Management Kevin Guthrie explains technologies aboard firefighting aircraft have made great strides in the past few decades, which has been a big help.
They have the ability to see through the haze down to the flame, and then that makes them, or it obviously helps them get closer to the fire, get closer to getting water on target.
Those capabilities were on full display during our aerial tour. You can see this National Guard helicopter making a targeted drop on a hotspot burning in the Mondex fire. Guthrie says drones are also put into action to monitor hotspots at night using similar camera technology.
But those are the type of technologies that have come light years in the last 20 years since the 1998 wildfires.
But there's also new technology working behind the scenes. Angie Yeti with the National Weather Service Jacksonville says there have been advancements in forecasting models, especially when it comes to wind. She says those models have come into play in the current wildfire outbreak, giving teams on the ground a sense of where to pre-position crews.
Given that weather parameter and given the environment that the fire is in, what could that fire do? Is it going to make a fast run, or is it going to skunk around and smolder in the swamp?
And those advancements, combined with the hard work of crews in the air and on the ground, have helped prevent any loss of homes in this fire so far.
It certainly looks like they're about to get that thing contained and under control as they start what is referred to as mop-up operations.
And we're entering a very active period of severe weather with a risk of storms each of the next few days. We start with today. The Storm Prediction Center issued a level 3 out of 5 risk for severe storms in eastern Kansas, with a level 2 risk stretching from Minneapolis to northern Oklahoma. Tornadoes, large hail, and severe wind gusts are all possible this afternoon and also tonight. Tomorrow, that risk moves to the south, where cities such as Little Rock, Shreveport, and Jackson all face a level 2 risk. And on Saturday, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Wichita are under threat with a level 3 risk for tornadoes, hail, and also damaging winds. And we have new details from the National Weather Service confirming 3 tornadoes touched down across portions of central California on Tuesday. Tornadoes are rare, but for the state, especially multiple ones in a single day. Dania Romero has more.
Troubling twisters in the San Joaquin Valley. Hugo Tapia describes what he heard when a tornado touched down near his home in northwest Fresno. When he looked out from his window, he says he saw what appeared to be a tornado.
You see a bunch of trees down. People call me, "Are you okay, Hugo?" I'm okay.
He showed us damage to the property, including fallen trees in the area right near Monroe and Barstow Avenues. The National Weather Service confirming a tornado just outside where Hugo lives. Officials say they're still reviewing data and details could change as more information comes in.
As of Wednesday, 3 tornadoes were reported in the San Joaquin Valley by the National Weather Service. The first near Biola, an EF0 with peak winds at 70 miles per hour lasting just 2 minutes. The second near Atwater, an EF1 on the ground for about 9 minutes with peak winds of 110 miles per hour, the strongest we saw on Tuesday. The third tornado was 8.5 miles northeast of Clovis. That was an EF1 with peak winds at 95 miles per hour.
This is the most tornadoes that we observed in a season since 2019.
People in Atwater saw downed power lines, flattened grass, and damaged homes. The NWS saying there was initially a small window for tornado activity.
It was highlighted by the Storm Prediction Center of having a 2 to 4% chance of tornadoes. Now, although that may sound like a small number, it is very infrequent that we have any percent chance of a tornado.
To confirm a tornado, the NWS says they rely on damage surveys, radar data, and reports from the ground.
That gives us higher confidence that we need to alert the public of tornadoes or of severe thunderstorms that contain strong winds too.
Lava is once again spewing out of Hawaii's Kilauea volcano. This latest episode began at 7:30 Eastern Time this morning. It's the 45th time fountains of lava are pouring out of the volcano since this latest eruption began in December of 2024. Ground level sensors near the vents indicate winds are blowing from the north, suggesting volcanic gas emissions and volcanic material may move south. Now it appears some of the cleanest drinking water in the nation comes in a can. Eastern North Carolina's chili water was recently recognized as the cleanest packaged drinking water in the U.S. and the second cleanest in the world. The company beat out 500 other bottled water brands. Testers found the well source water had no fluoride and no forever chemicals in it. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, we'll look at how drought is impacting Texas lake levels and why conditions may actually be improving. And we'll learn about the invasive spider taking over parts of California.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with a look at the Northeast. Last night's showers are moving out and the skies are brightening up for most of the Northeast. Today we'll have highs in the 60s. For most of the area, parts of northern New England will be cooler due to some more clouds and a few lingering showers there. Notice a little bit of snow in northern Maine. That's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. A good chunk of the Northeast will be bright and comfortable with temps in the 50s and 60s. Now on Friday, you look for a partly to mostly sunny sky. We're still looking at more clouds over northern areas. Look for highs in the 50s.
I'm meteorologist Jasmine Lomax with a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. We'll have a front over the area that could spark a few stray showers, but not looking at a washout for your Thursday. Overnight will dry out, but as the front stalls over the region, we'll have more rain chances over the weekend. Temperatures will rise to the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, making for a warm day. Then overnight will cool down, dropping to the 40s, 50s, and 60s around the region.
I'm meteorologist Lauren Oleski with a look at your forecast across the southeast. It'll be nice and warm across the region for Thursday afternoon with highs mostly in the 80s. Might stop in the upper 70s along the coast of southeast Florida there. Skies should remain mostly dry as well headed through the beginning of the day on Thursday. Could see some low pressure developing in the Gulf Thursday afternoon, maybe a little brief shower. Otherwise, it's mostly dry. Most of us under the influence of high pressure will stay dry heading into the beginning of the day on Friday as well.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Finally, some drought relief in central Texas this week. Rain is helping the parched landscape, but even though yards and gardens need this rain, there's a pesky downside to the extra moisture. Betty Cross has more.
The Dutchman's pipe has got some nice flowers there.
Horticulturist Rob Inlow is happy to see April's showers are giving these flowers a long, satisfying drink. More than 4 inches have fallen so far this month, and the butterfly garden is taking advantage of every drop.
You can get a head start on planting. We highly recommend that. I'm going to be planting a few more things than I thought I would, just to be opportunistic and take advantage of Mother Nature giving us this wonderful gift.
But not everything's coming up roses. In the natural gardener's vegetable garden, the steady rains are leaching out nutrients like nitrogen and iron. Rob's advice is to check your plants and be ready to apply additional fertilizer.
That old saying, you know, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. That in gardening, that definitely goes. So knowing that it will probably come, so it's better you're prepared for it.
Gardeners are also being warned that insects like aphids and spider mites are ready to take advantage of the wet weather.
The extra sugar content that's included with the rain, because plants will produce that extra sugars with extra rain, they're just going to see like as an opportunity for themselves.
CBS Austin meteorologist Michael Crowley has proof that Central Texas needed a good drenching. It has been 177 days since we got an inch of rain. The streak broke with just over an inch of rainfall.
We got a ton of rainfall right where we needed it, and it's incredibly beneficial. It's also our rainiest April since 2019.
Michael says the wet weather is likely to continue through May.
We actually have an El Nino beginning to materialize for the rest of this year, and we're also in what we call neutral conditions. That usually means that we have a pretty rainy spring and a pretty rainy summer as well.
All that rain could lead to more lawn funguses like brown patch. Regardless, Rob says we need to keep one thing in mind.
We'll take any water that we can get.
When spring temperatures feel more like summertime, it's tempting to take a dip in lakes and rivers, but danger could be lurking beneath the surface. Meteorologist Alex Mott explains.
During this time of year, there's a big difference between the temperature of the water and the temperature of the air. As snowpack melts in the warm air, it races down from the mountains into our rivers and streams, making the water quite chilly, despite how inviting it may look. For example, the Clark Fork River near East Missoula was around 48 degrees on Tuesday morning, which is well below the 70-degree threshold where caution is advised. This sudden contrast can actually be dangerous for your body if you're not properly prepared. Ice-cold water can send your body into shock, causing a loss of muscle control and even an involuntary gasp reflex, and it can happen within minutes of entering the water. In fact, according to the National Weather Service's Juneau office, about 1/5 of cold water immersion deaths happen within the first 60 seconds of contact. All that said, you can still have a great time if you prepare accordingly. Wearing a life vest, having cold water protection gear on hand, and limiting exposure time, especially if you have health conditions, will help you stay safe.
And people often head out for some camping in the spring months, but drought in the Carolinas is making those trips a bit less appealing. Ryan Stockett has more.
Fire risks throughout the state of North Carolina have been high for a while now, and with those risks come restrictions that may impact your camping experience.
And a lot more people are coming out, and everybody who camps loves to have a campfire. You know, they want to sit at their sites and enjoy stories in the evening and just have a campfire on a cool night, and right now we can't do that.
Douglas Wiz, the general manager of this campground at Swannanoa, says that normally there'd be a line of campfires along the river, but he says that because of the statewide burn ban, there can't be any campfires right now.
The only thing I'm missing out on is just like having a campfire. I definitely generally like to do that. But at the same time, it's like that's not like the only reason why I go camping.
And some campers traveled out here not knowing they wouldn't be able to build a fire.
So I don't know if the leaves are gonna stick too much in there, but we can try it.
Like Chris Locke, who's camping with his family for the first time.
This, we kind of made this as like a symbol for the fire that we can't have.
Instead of a fire, they roasted marshmallows on a propane stove.
It's not traditional camping, right? Obviously, we want to keep everyone safe, and I think it's very important that it is happening and explaining to them what a drought is and how we got to keep everyone safe.
While the campers we spoke with were understanding, Wiz says they've had 1 or 2 cancellations because of the burn ban.
A bunch of campers that started grumbling a little bit because, like I said, they enjoy having a campfire. Now it's been in place several weeks now, and I think people kind of understand right now what's going on.
And he says since people can't burn, their firewood sales have been down.
We were probably selling, a couple of hundred bundles a month of firewood, every month, and now we're not, so we are losing that income.
He tells us that while they're complying, he's hoping campfires at a campground will be back soon.
Hopefully it won't be too much longer. Hopefully we get some rain enough to lift this ban.
When camping run-ins with spiders are common, there's a new one to watch out for. We again turn to Dania Romero, who's in California, where the Joro spider sightings are going up.
They may look intimidating, but ecosystem expert Rebecca Wallace says the Joro spider isn't something to panic about.
So all spiders are venomous. The venom of a Joro spider is not medically significant for humans. Anybody can still potentially have an allergic reaction. Anybody can still get an infection if they've got a break in their skin and bacteria gets in. But other than that, they're not going to be a medically significant problem if they bite you.
Female Joro spiders are hard to miss, growing up to the size of your palm with bright yellow and blue markings. Males are smaller.
The males are kind of small and they're brown on brown. And then the females are much larger. They're about 3 times as large as the males are.
But how did they get here if they're native to Eastern Asia? Experts say these spiders arrived through human activity, like hitchhiking on cars or in cargo. But now they're spreading on their own.
They're naturally spreading on their own through a process called like ballooning or kiting, where spiderlings, so the not adult form of these spiders, will send out a thread, and it'll either catch on a tree that's a distance away from where they hatched, or it'll catch on like air currents and electromagnetic currents.
Juro spiders have already been spotted in different states, including Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Maryland. Although Juro spiders pose little risk, Wallace says to be cautious and report possible sightings to help track how far they're traveling on jurowatch.org.
As long as you include a picture, we'll be able to kind of help you figure out if it's a Juro spider or not.
Researchers are still studying what this could mean for native wildlife.
We know that they're introduced. We know that they're a self-sustaining population, of course, by this point, but we don't know what impact they're having.
And time now for a short break, but first we soar over Yosemite National Park in California.
Well, a very good Thursday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buck-Michael. We've got some scattered strong storms across the Central Plains for the day today with a cold front. That's going to push its way to the east as we head into the day on Friday, and a little cooler behind that with highs in the 50s and 60s there across the northern plains. And that kind of kicks its way out of our neck of the woods by Saturday morning, moving out into the East Coast and staying pretty comfortable with temperatures for Saturday.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. Here's a look at your regional weather. Things are kind of normal this morning. We're looking 65 for our friends in El Paso, 69 out for Dallas, some leftover clouds, a little bit of drizzle in and around Houston and San Antonio. We'll be watching another cold front as it makes its way through, a little bit of a dry line. Could see some storms back up into Oklahoma. We'll keep an eye on that. Otherwise, it's going to be a warm and humid afternoon. I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. That's a look at your regional weather.
I'm George Waldenberger, your forecast for the western United States, and conditions along the immediate west coast are calming, and the temperature is not too hot nor too cold. We are heating up in Phoenix, though, on the south side of a storm system that's actually dropping more mountain snow over the northern Rockies. It's also been quite gusty with a high fire danger. That footprint expanding from Montana all the way through New Mexico and Arizona. That is the scene from out here.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Spring flowers can be a welcome sight for some, but can also be misery for others. That's because of spring allergies. But allergies just don't impact people. They're also felt by our pets. Dr. Devin Smith looks at ways you can help your pet weather allergy season.
Pets with allergies are probably one of the most common reasons that owners wind up in our veterinary clinic. While allergies can manifest in a number of ways, some of the most commonly reported clinical signs include itchy paws, itchy skin, especially around the flanks and belly, as well as itchy ears. Now, of course, allergies can happen at any time, but generally, spring through fall tend to be the times when my allergic pets are most uncomfortable. If you're concerned that your pet might have allergies, you should absolutely schedule an appointment with your vet so that they can first rule out any ectoparasites like fleas and confirm that your pet does in fact have allergies. Once a diagnosis has been made, your vet may talk to you about prescription medications like Cytopoint or Apoquel, which help reduce the pruritus or itchiness associated with allergies. In less severe cases, over-the-counter allergy medicines may do the trick, but always talk to your veterinarian before administering any medications to your animal.
And thank you so much for joining us. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great day, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow.